Hey guys, Jack Spirko here. It's almost a year ago that I heard about a social media platform called MeWe. And I set up a profile there and got a couple hundred people following me, but it didn't seem very active, and it was partly my fault, and I'm going to attempt to rectify that today for y'all, because I think a lot of y'all might have the same issue as you become new users of MeWe. So I've got some stuff here for you about how to build your presence on MeWe very quickly. And as you do that, not only will you build your presence, but the presence of other people that are there and MeWe as a whole. And maybe we can make it a real alternative to Facebook. I think it's already a great alternative, but maybe we can make it a realistic alternative as an actual competitor. And I think it's in our best interest to do so. I'm calling this Operation Zuckerberg. Like I said, I've known about MeWe for almost a year. And lately, it's just gotten to be too much. We've had the great purges, right? So MeWe and YouTube and Google and Twitter have all taken people that they politically disagree with and just banished them. And as I've said before, I believe in the free market. I believe in the free market, and they have every right to do that. I think you can make a case that maybe they don't, because all of them are subsidized with taxpayer money. But if I had my way, that wouldn't be a thing anyway. So I'm only going to push that so far. I don't want to be a hypocrite. What was it the Doc Holliday character said in Tombstone? Even my hypocrisy has limits, or something like that. But what I've decided, and I think if you're watching this, you're probably part of it already. You're going to soon be anyway. It's called Operation Zuckerberg. Yes, like Zuckerberg. And that is that if we want to make MeWe a legitimate alternative to Facebook, I mean, the first thing we need to do is we need to understand something. We do not need to make MeWe a libertarian Facebook. Other than that we're welcoming to all people and all ideas, and you intellectually argue things, you don't ban people. But what I mean by that is I don't want a social media platform to be exclusive to people with one view. I've got a ton of people I'm interacting with on MeWe now, and plenty of stuff that they say I disagree with. And if I think a person's just a complete asshole, I just stop following them and don't let them follow me. So that's not a problem, if you get what I'm saying there. But I think that if you get into a position where you're trying to position what you're doing as a typecast thing, it's for libertarians and anarchists or right-wing or conservatives or something, or liberals even, like it becomes an echo chamber. And that's not the point. The point is connecting with people. And a lot of us have people that we care about who are really in agreement with us on a lot of things and really in disagreement with us on many things. But that doesn't mean that we don't want to talk to them. It also doesn't mean that we don't want to maybe hear what they have to say about just the stuff that we do agree with. And that's what social media was always supposed to be all about. So let's talk about how you can be part of Operation Zuckerberg and how you can, in that, actually build yourself an asset. Because I believe a strong social media presence is an asset for a business or for an individual. Number one thing is easy. Invite friends. Once you set up your MeWe profile, if you go to your profile and scroll down, you'll see a thing where you can link to your profile directly, and it'll say, like, I want you to join me on MeWe or what have you. Post that on Facebook. Email it to people. Talk to people about it. Say, hey, just download the app. When you're talking to a friend and they're like, you can tell they're like a little bit technophobic, let me see your phone. I'll download the app. I'll help you set up. Let me friend you up right away. Let me show you my groups. Join these groups, whatever. Show them how it works. Good old-fashioned, word of mouth, viral marketing. And it doesn't take a lot of people connected to you and then a few people connect to each of them before you build a pretty big network. So invite people. One way to do that is post positive press about MeWe. So there's some positive press out there talking about how awesome MeWe is. Share those articles. Stop sharing how bad or how good you think the Orange Man is, and start sharing some articles about MeWe. Let people know. By the way, there's a lot of bad press starting to come up about MeWe. Yeah, we need to use that. Hold on here. Me and Captain Morgan are going to tell you how. So when people start making claims that, MeWe is where all the white supremacists and anti-vaxxers and conspiracy theorists are, and your people know you and you're not those things, or you're maybe only minorly one of those things, in their mind anyway, then they start thinking, well, that's a lie. And when people know that something's being lied about, they get curious about it. Even when they think maybe the truth's being told about it, tend to check it out to see if it's true or not. So you can even leverage negative press about MeWe by pointing out the media bias to it and the fact that it's not true. By the way, remember the old thing? First they ignore you, then they mock you, then they fight you, and then you win. We went straight to attack pretty quick here, so something's up. They know that an alternative that offers privacy and the ability to actually communicate with the people you want to communicate with instead of the crap their algorithm puts in front of you, they know it's a threat. I really think you need to talk to your friends, though. Don't talk to your friends about the great banning. A lot of your friends are not going to care about the fact that whoever you're upset about got banned from Facebook. If they don't follow that person, if that person's not meaningful in their life, they just assume, just like they assume that somebody that got charged with a crime or got arrested must be bad or that wouldn't have happened. Most people are still asleep. They assume that if that person got banned, there was a reason for it. But most people do value their privacy to a degree. So you need to talk to people and make it very clear when you talk to them. When you're on Facebook, you are not the customer. You are the product, which means everything you do is being recorded so that you can be sold. That makes people feel kind of dirty, pointing it out to them. You go over to MeWe, you're the customer. They work on a freemium model where everything's free except there's other things you can buy from them. You can buy emojis, you can buy basically a VoIP calling plan, you can buy additional storage, and I'm sure they'll have other services in the future. But you're the customer, not an advertiser. There's no advertising on MeWe. It's a freemium model built on privacy. Let them know that. They are the product. Ask them how they like being sold. Next, once your friends join, connect with them and invite them to groups. Say, hey, I think you should join this group. Hey, I think you should join that group. Just a little thing. When you're in a group, you can click on invite. Click on that, see all your friends, and invite all the ones you think would fit that group. Try to join a couple groups that you feel like are pretty universal, like anybody would be interested in. A lot of you guys follow me. A lot of you guys are in the TSP, the Survival Podcast, and so you're going to be in the Survival Podcast Hangout group. That's great. And I know you're going to have some people that join. I hope you're going to have some people that join that are like, I'm not into this survival-y, prepper-y crap. That's fine. We have set up a group called MeWe Tips. You should invite every single new user to MeWe Tips because they're going to try to figure shit out. You don't want to hold their hand through everything. They're going to find answers in there, or they're going to say, hey, how do I? And somebody else is going to talk to them and tell them, and all of a sudden they're talking to other people, they're friending other people, and the network is growing. That's the whole point. The other group that we've set up that I think you can probably get most people to join is called the 10% Project, which is about growing food in your own backyard. A lot of people aren't into heavy gardening, or they're not into permaculture, not into prepping or homesteading. But I think the concept of taking a little tiny piece of your backyard, 10% of it, and dedicating to growing stuff that your family can eat, that's pretty universal. Not everybody's going to join it, but no one's going to be put off by it. Find some other groups. Set up your own groups. We'll talk about that in a second here. If your friends have issues and they're like, I can't figure this out, I think the place to start with explaining things to your friends is explain groups, chats, and their feed and how they're different. That if they click on the groups tab, they're going to see the information, all the latest posts to their groups, and they can individually look at the groups from there. Same thing with chat. If you click on the chat feed, you'll see all the chats that you're part of, either through groups or for individual people, and you can blow up any individual chat and engage that way. And then your feed is only going to be the people that you're connected to individually. And once they understand that, they'll realize there's a ton more content available to them and a ton more ways to engage with people than they realize there were. That is like really important because all of a sudden it opens up. Because what happens is people get on MeWe and they're like, there's no one here. They're connected to 2 or 3 people that aren't real active. Maybe those 2 or 3 people have their settings to where everything's private, and it doesn't look like anything's going on. Guys, there's over 4 million people using MeWe. So once we open that box for them, they'll see it and they'll start engaging. Next, share lots of stuff. Like, when you finally start connecting with some people on MeWe and you start seeing stuff, anything that's remotely interesting, hit share with your contacts. Right? Because you don't know what they're going to find interesting and what they're not. But the number one thing that people need out of the gate is to see some stuff. If they see some stuff, it's not 1 or 2 things, and they see new stuff coming in. So share like crazy. That's really important. Make your content shareable. I was doing this myself. I didn't realize it. When you post on MeWe, they default to the side of security and safety. They assume that you want as much security and safety as possible, and they let you open up the door as much as you want. Now, most of the content we're sharing it for people to see it. We don't mind people seeing it behind our contacts. You might share something you only want with your contacts. That's fine. But there's a little thing that you select when you're sharing content that says, my contacts only, or share publicly. Share most of your stuff publicly so that I can share your stuff with my people. Again, if you have something you only want your contacts to see, you can do that. You can set up private groups for that type of thing and invite people that you want to share that kind of privacy with. But if you're posting a meme or a YouTube video or an article, you don't care that other people see that. You want other people to see that. I will post a link in the comments or the text description that goes with this video for you to a video I did that shows you how to set things to default to being public, and then anytime you're posting, if you want to change it to contacts only, you can. But make your content shareable. Tag people in posts and comments. You see this all the time on Facebook. I see very little of it on MeWe. If you see something and you think someone that you know that's on MeWe would like it, get in the comments section, say @so-and-so, and tag them up, you know. That's really important. When you make posts, if you know some people that you think would be particularly interested in it, tag them, because it does a lot more than just alert them. The other thing that it does is when people see that and they're like, oh, this is interesting, and they see like somebody tag, like, who is that? Because we want people talking to each other. Next, I would like all of you to commit to posting at least 4 posts every day. Post at least 4 things every day. And I'm not going to say not to be political at all. One of the reasons we're on MeWe is because we can speak our mind without getting banned. That's important. But for those, and I don't care if you put 20 political posts up, for the 4 you commit to, make no more than 1 political. Make 3 something that's interesting. Something going on science or technology. Something that's going on about gardening, or something that's going on about something you like. Whatever it is. Share stuff beyond. Share pictures of your kids, whatever. But at least do 4 posts a day and keep only 1 political. And share as many as you can. Again, I've already said that, but share, share, share. And again, make that content shareable. I have our groups that I've set up where things can be shared outside the group. But most of the posts are not shareable because the original post shared into the group is not shareable. Check that video out. Make your content shareable. Next, set up your own groups. Do it, man. Get out there and set those groups up on anything that you're interested in. Try to get beyond the prepper space that I know so many of you following me are in the prepper, and like there's other things you're interested in. Go take a look for ideas about all the groups that you have that you're in on Facebook. Just like hit your groups tab and just take a look and go, and it'll remind you, oh gee, you know what, I like tropical fish. See if there's one on MeWe. If there is, join it. If there isn't, or it's not angled the way you want, right, then make one, create one. It's free. Go ahead and set it up. And as soon as you set up a group, and if you have a lot of contacts, it's kind of laborious, but click on invite everybody you know, because you might have people that'll join that you didn't think they were interested. So set up groups and invite people. I do want to caution y'all a little bit. Be careful about going with too much of the subgroup thing. Like with the Facebook group, the TSP Hangout, we have people doing state level. I think that's great because you have a reason to like want to be able to find all the people in TSP that are also in Ohio, right? But like somebody was like, we should set up a canning group. If you want to set up a canning group, fine. But if you want to set up a canning group for TSP, especially for right now, we only got like 1,400 members or something like that, post about canning to TSP. And that's not just for my benefit. That's other groups that you're in. If it fits that group, share it into that group. Even if you create a subgroup, then share it into both groups. Share into multiple groups as well. That's probably a good idea. Set up pages too, man. Set up a page for your business. But here's an idea I thought. Pick your favorite brand, right? Something that's a bigger brand. Something that has a Facebook presence but doesn't have a MeWe presence. Maybe it's a restaurant chain that you really dig and you like to go to. For me, the one I'm going to do is Arc Cryptocurrency. I've tagged them on Facebook a few times and said, hey guys, I love what you guys do. I talk to my people about Arc. I think you guys are innovators. You're active. I think your cryptocurrency is stupid cheap right now. It's definitely a good speculation. And I love all the communication you're doing. Why don't you set up something over on MeWe? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set up the ARC page, and I'm just going to like check their Facebook page every day, and just anything they share there, I'm just going to grab the link, bring it over, and share it for them on MeWe, and build them a presence. And if they get enough followers on it and what have you, I'll reach out to them and say, here's your page. You guys want it? I'll give it to you, or I can keep squatting on it. And consider squatting, man. There is a lot of brand with no presence on MeWe, which means you have an opportunity to channel that harness into it. And if you can build it up to just a couple hundred people, when people search the directories and they find it and they see there's that many members of it, then they're going to want to join. It's really hard to grow a group when there's like 3 people in it. When you get like a couple hundred to a couple thousand, it gets really easy to grow groups. And think about that. I want you to think about there's a shit ton of first mover advantage available on MeWe. Right now, if you want to go over to Facebook and set up a group on permaculture, you're competing with about 20 other pages that are huge. Some of them have, freaking 500,000 people. If you want to set up a group on just about anything, like I'm into fish and aquariums, there's like 100 groups on Facebook, some of them very, very big. They got big by being some of the first ones, getting a head start. So you got a ton of first mover advantage. Make sure if you set up a page or a group for your business that you're promoting it outside of MeWe. I talked about this a long time ago, and it's why I have such a big presence on Facebook. And unfortunately, I did more for Facebook than me, I think. But it's called priming the social media pump. If you think about a well, let me see if you think about a well, somebody puts a new well in. They drill down to the water table. And they sit there and they put a pump up on top of that well and turn it on. Or they sit there and crank that pump. No water comes out. You have to do what's called prime the pump. To get water, you got to give water. So you get a bucket or a hose or something and you fill up the pipe down to the water table. And then you can get as much water out of the well as you want. But you gotta put the water in the pump first. If you have a wood stove and you fill it full of, you don't put any wood in it, and you throw a match in there, all you do is burn the match. If you put wood in there, but you don't put any kindling and don't light it, and you tell the stove, give me heat, the stove's like, dude, I'm an inanimate object. I can't. You got to light it. You got to build the fire. That's how social media works. And so if you want to build a heavy presence on MeWe, then if you have a blog or a business or something, instead of just having, join me on Facebook, promote that on MeWe. Talk about it. And you got to understand something. You might think that it's insignificant that your little blog that gets a couple thousand views a day says, hey, come follow me on MeWe. And I've been in branding and marketing a long time. It usually takes about 7 exposures to a brand or a concept or an idea or a product. Doesn't matter which one it is. 7 exposures to that. And in the person's head, it becomes a thing. It becomes significant. They hear about it once, but that's a thing. Blah, blah. They hear about it twice. I heard about that before. And if the second time they're hearing about it from somebody that they respect, they might look into it. But if they get that and then they're on this like third-party website somewhere and it says, hey, we have a MeWe page, come join us, or we have a MeWe group where you can talk about our product, or we can talk about the things that our product's in, a little bit broader. Well, now I've heard about it 3 times. And then if some of their friends tell them about it, and then they get an email about it, and then they go on their Facebook and they see one of their friends say, I've had enough of this shit, I'm going over to MeWe. By the time that hits them 5 to 7 times, it won't leave their head. They may not do it, they may not join it. You may think Coca-Cola sucks. I do too, unless it's more Jack Daniels than Coke. I'm not a fan. But I can't forget the Coca-Cola logo because we've seen it our whole lives. The road to that point where you have brand identity and brand recognition is 7 times. And once you do it 7 times, that's why follow-up email works. That's why retargeting advertising works. That's why, to be fair to Facebook, one of the reasons you're like, oh, it's kind of creepy. I was on Amazon, I was looking at this product, and then I went to Facebook and I saw it there. That's called retargeting advertising. That's not all creepy shit. On some level, that's just There's things called cookies that track your browser, and there's an ad platform called retargeting, and all it does is any website that's in its network, it knows you looked at something, and when you're on another site that's network, you'll see it again. The entire reason is the 5 to 7 repeat view, to where that thing becomes in your mind. There must be some value to it, or I wouldn't see it everywhere. That's how your mind thinks once you have that frequency. And I want you to think about building, here in these final thoughts, building your MeWe presence as a personal and or business asset. We are living in a world where the resume is dying and or dead. Who you know is way more important than exactly what's on your resume, and who knows you is what's really important. If you're in business, then you know engagement with your people is the most important thing. The number one thing I've learned on MeWe in this past week of being on it is I am missing so much engagement with my audience. I am seeing so many people post so much awesome stuff that have been following me for years on Facebook. And I've been connected to them because I'll look them up and I go, well, they must have not shared this stuff on Facebook. I go look up. Yeah, we're connected. Yeah, we're following each other. Maybe they're seeing my shit. I don't know. It must be because they followed me over here. But then I pull up their personal page and like all this stuff they're posting on MeWe right now, that they're posting like they're rapid fire going back and grabbing it and moving it over. Well, I look and it's all in their page. They've been posting that shit for years and I don't see it. If you are on social media to build an asset, whether it's a personal network or a business network, then without engagement, your network is useless. A person in your Rolodex, see, I learned this when I was in old school sales, before there was social media, before there was a modern internet. I had a really good sales manager that taught me, he said, that Rolodex you have, you're so proud of. And by then, we didn't have a Rolodex. We had a computer database. We still called it a Rolodex, though. He said that you're so proud of, unless you're talking to those people, like 2 or 3 times a month, they're almost useless to you. You need to think of a reason to talk to them. Don't just send them. Everybody sends them Christmas cards. He told me you send them Father's Day cards. You send them Mother's Day cards. You find out when their kids are graduating school and you send them a congratulations on that. Just a simple email. But you engage with them. You talk to them. You make notes about them. And we used ACT as a database. You make notes about them in ACT. And you engage with them. And what made social media so awesome was instead of having to collect that information, I just saw you. He just posted a picture. That's one of my clients, and he goes fishing. And he just took a guided trip somewhere in Montana for awesome trout. Well, then I can reach out and say, hey man, who did you go with? And hey, we should hook up and fish sometime. And that engagement is what gives that asset value. Facebook's not doing it. We will, but the problem is we've been riding, instead of a bicycle, we've been riding a tricycle with Facebook for so long. We've forgotten these important things I'm talking about today. And we've been riding a tricycle with training wheels on train tracks. MeWe's giving you a motorcycle, but you got to remember how to shift gears, and you got to remember how to let that string out. That's what these tips are designed to help you do. Hope you follow them, and catch up with you later.